All right, folks. So this is the lesson that happened on Thursday, 9/17. We asked the question, what is art? Now, when I ask you that question, you're probably going to have some kind of a visual in your mind. So is this art? What about this? Or maybe this? How about this, though? Or this urinal? Or these scribbles? Are those art? If you take a look in Google and you do a search that says define art, you're probably going to come up with this definition. It says it's the expression or application of human skill and imagination, typically in visual forms such as a painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. Now, that's a lot. That's a mouthful of things for you to remember. What I have underlined here is probably going to be the best and the easiest way for us to define art. It's the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination. Now, I'm going to say that, but I'm also going to ask you to remember that emotional power part, because we're going to come back to that. I have here a photograph, and this is during the Obama administration. It's a very tense moment. It was a moment where we decided to eliminate one of the greatest threats to America, Osama bin Laden, who orchestrated the attacks on September 11th. It's a really serious moment in his presidency. But my question is, think about this photograph. Think about all photographs. Are photographs art? Remember from our original definition that art has to show creativity and imagination. So is this shot creative? Think about it. You've got President Obama, you've got Joe Biden, you've got Hillary Clinton, you've got all these people on the right side of this picture, right? I don't know who they are, but I'm assuming they're pretty bigwigs, but you only have President Obama and Vice President Biden on this side of the picture. I would say that's pretty creative. The photographer chose to capture them in such a way that actually, if you are familiar with the elements of art, balance is one of them, and that was asymmetrical balance. We'll take a look at that right now. These two are, there's only two people on this side, but they are the most important people in this room, and they are offset, they are balanced by all of these other people. Sure, we know Hillary, but I don't know who this lady is, right? This is asymmetrical balance, where all of these people are equal to the same weight as this. So yes, definitely. I'm gonna say authoritatively, this is a creative work of art. But was it imagined? Did this photographer imagine that someday he would be in a room and he imagined President Obama calling the shot, or Vice President Biden being there, or Hillary Clinton? Or was he merely there to capture the moment? I'm going to say probably not so much on the imagined side. He was there to just capture the moment. And that's pretty much what photography is. You're capturing a moment. You're not necessarily imagining the elements that are part of that moment. So we have a problem here, because I definitely agree. Photography is art. But in order for it to meet this definition, we have a problem, right? It's the expression of human creative skill and imagination. And we already said that photography maybe doesn't reach that criteria of imagination. So our problem is it reaches one part of our definition, but it doesn't reach that other part, right? It's a problem with the and here, right? We have creative skill, not so much on the imagination part, but that definitely is part of what creates art, right? What becomes art. So I'm asking the question, how do we tweak this definition then? If photography can only hit one of these, what can we do with this and? we change it to an or, right? And that way, if it's the expression of human creative skill or imagination, well then photography definitely fits that definition, right? Cool. What's a creative skill though? I created this PowerPoint. I create to-do lists. I've written notes. I'm sure you've written notes. So what's the difference between your notes or my to-do list and just like being lines of text? They're lines of text, right? So are they art? Are my shopping lists when I go out to the grocery store, are those art or are they just lines of text? Think about this for a moment. What other forms of art are lines of text? Think about your ELA classes. How about poems? How about books, lyrics? Those are all considered art. So how is a book or a poem or a lyric art and my to-do list doesn't quite cut it? What is it that poems are doing that my shopping list does not? Think about that for a second. I'm hoping that the answer you came up with was that poems make us feel something. Songs can make us feel something. A book can make us feel something. To-do lists like might give us a little anxiety, but overall they're not going to make us think about the world and its state or certain feeling, right? Art is something then that is created with the intent to make its audience feel or react, right? There's something behind that other than I have to do this today or I can't forget the bread this time when I go to the grocery store. So my question now is, are animal selfies art? Even though these guys look like they're about to drop the best album of 2020, are they considered art? Maybe you said yes and maybe you said no. I'm going to tell you why I think it's going to be no. Yes, they're definitely creative and they definitely make us feel something. I definitely laughed about that. But remember that our definition said that it had to be a human creation. And it all depends on how you're going to argue this. Maybe, are you going to attribute the selfie to the animal hitting the button? Or are you going to attribute it to the person who set up the camera and then lured the animal in, right? Because these animals, I think we can all agree, are not clicking that button as an expression of imagination. They're not doing this because they're like, cool, I'm going to take a picture. They don't have an intention of what's going to happen after they hit that button. I guarantee that that cat taking those selfies with his gang of dogs, his real motivation is hitting that button and getting some kind of reward, right? So there's no real intent. And to illustrate this a little bit better, I'm going to show you these two pictures. The picture on the left definitely looks like there's been a little bit of an accident here, right? I'm sure we've all been on the road and we see the lines painted there, right? This kind of looks like maybe somebody wasn't looking and they rear-ended that vehicle. You can see right here that there's guys in little vests, right? Clearly, this is an accident. This is not something done on purpose. This is not something done with intention. However, this image on the right, that is definitely spilled paint. It is poured in such a way to create this effect. So image on the left, that's an accident. That's a whoopsie. That I didn't mean to do that. And it shows kind of, right? This is, I did this intentionally and this is the effect I got. So intent is definitely important. So we come up with a new definition. We already decided that art has to be creative or imaginative. It has to be done by humans. It has to have intent. And it also is going to have that emotional impact. It's going to make us feel or react. So art is the purposeful expression of human creative skill or imagination that makes the audience feel something. That's what's going to define art. So here is what your assignment is. I want you to go into Google Classroom, I want you to go into Unified Classroom, and I want you to click on your classes and find the remote learning art page, okay? What you're gonna do is you're gonna find on that page, there are gonna be a bunch of pages. One of them is called the assignments page, and you're gonna see a little arrow next to it, and it's gonna say, if you click on it, you'll see week 1, and then you'll see another one that's separated. It says, what is art? And it has today's date on it, Thursday, 9/17/20. At the bottom of that page is an art or not block, and I'm gonna actually show you what it is that I want you to do. You're gonna follow the instructions step by step, but overall, you're gonna do a Google search of, is this art? And you're gonna find 2 images that you consider art and 2 images that you consider not. So think to me. That's gonna be 4 images total, 2 art, 2 not, okay? And then what I want you to do is I want you to upload those in separate posts, and I want you to label in the title and in the body of the discussion whether you think that's art or not. Once you've submitted those 4 photos, I want you to go back, and you're gonna see a bunch of other students have voted, have submitted artwork just like this. And I want you to go and vote on 3. I want you to click on 3 different posts that aren't yours, and I want you to say whether or not you agree if that is art or if it is not. On your last one though, on your last one of those 3, I want you to write a sentence saying like why you think that is art or not, okay? And if you understand the project at this point, you're free to do that assignment. But I'm gonna share another screen with you right now. And I'm gonna show you step by step, once again, how you're gonna do that. So what you're gonna do is, I'm gonna pause this recording. And we're back. All right, Unified Classroom decided it wanted to be difficult for a second, so I had to pause the recording. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go into your class pages. Now I have a bunch of different options, obviously, because I'm a teacher, but you have a couple of similar ones. And similar to this is on the left-hand side, you're gonna see that you can click on class pages. You can find the remote learning art page through that, or you can click on your center one, although I have noticed that some students have difficulty there. What you can also do is you can go on Teams, you can go into Files, and then Class Materials or Class Resources. There is a Go Here, and there is a direct link to the remote learning page. And that can bring you right here. This is the first page on remote learning, and you can see over here that there are a bunch of different pages, my welcome page, my syllabus page, etc. What I'm looking for you to find is the assignment page, and this little arrow here tells us that there is going to be some subpages. Subpage 1 has week 1, and that is our first week of school. This one I ended up throwing on this page just to make it load a little bit faster, because I know if you're suffering like I am, if there's too many items on a page, it tends to make loading very, very slow. So I moved it off to this page. So you're gonna click on what is art, Thursday, 9/17/20. You can see what our activator was when I asked you what is art. The PowerPoint that I just narrated for you is right here. So if you want the Miss T Shut Up version, that's it. There's a short video that also asks the question, what is art? There's also one right here too. If you want to listen to that, you're definitely welcome to. And then here is that art or not. And your instructions are here. Remember, we're going to go and we're going to find those 4 is this art images. And we're going to click on this discussion. Now, I have a web page open right now that says, is this art? I'm going to show you really quickly how you can download something and say, is this art or is this not? This is actually one of the examples that I showed you. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit. But let's say I look at this and I say, no, nice try, buddy, but urinals, not art. I'm going to select this. I'm going to save this image. Usually what I do is I make sure that I save it somewhere on my desktop. So I'm just going to say this is already named Fountain by Duchamp, and that is actually the artist who created it, and that is the title of the artwork. So I'm just going to leave it at that because I know what that is. If you don't know what this is, if you want to say ugly, stupid urinal, name it that so that you know that you can find it. But I'm saving it on my desktop, save right there. Okay, I'm going to go back to my unified classroom page. And I'm going to go on this new post and I'm going to say in my title right here, I have to post something. So I'm going to put art or not, because that's what this is about. In the body, you have to write something too. So for the sake of argument, we're going to say that this urinal, absolutely not. You can't just put like a name on a urinal and call that art. That's not art. Not art. Anger. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I have to upload that image so people know what I'm talking about. So I hit upload file. I go to choose file. And I'm lucky that my computer is like, this lady likes to save a lot of things to her desktop. So we're just going to bring it to her desktop. If it doesn't bring you to the place where you know you might have to do a little searching, that's why I always make it a point to know, oh, it's on the desktop. So my Fountain by Duchamp is right here. I would select that. I'm going to click open. And that little sign said that Miss T had enough internet connection that it could attach it. Right down here, it tells me my image is already attached. And then what I can do is I can sit here and I can hit post. And boom, I have art or not. And I have this on here. I say not art. Okay, you're going to do that a total of 4 times. Remember, I want you to find 2 that are art and 2 that are not. Once you've uploaded 4 times, you're going to see all of my little friends over here have posted, and you can just pick on somebody's post and say, okay, so this person put this on here, and what do I think? I think that's kind of cool. There's some thought in that. Okay, if you painted all those cans, sure. I would go down here and I'm going to vote that it is art. And I'm going to hit my reply, and that's my vote. I've done that 1 time. I need to do that 2 more times, okay? But the last time I do that, I'm just going to show this right here. Keep in mind, load more is going to show us more images here. And also, if you're like, oh, how many times am I supposed to do this? You can hit more up here and the instructions are here. And then if you're like, well, now I can't see anything, you can hit less and that'll bump that up a little bit. So I'm going to show you one of my earlier ones. Remember, on your last one, I asked you to write a 1 to 2 sentence reply as to why you are saying that it's art or not. So on this one, I did this on my own just to give you an example and also because it was the only one there. But I went in and I took a look at my picture and I said that I thought that it was art, even though it's made of garbage. If you can see, this is actually a spare tire. This is like random plastic garbage, especially down here, you can tell, right? So my answer is, I think this is art, even though it's made from garbage. It meets the criteria of being creative, imaginative, and intending me to think about something. And then I just added a little bit of extra that it makes me think about pollution and its effect on wildlife. I can't tell you, I've been in education since the early 2000s, and I have every single year had at least one person say something along the lines of save the turtles. So this is definitely a save the turtles moment, right? It makes you think like, look at how much pollution that we're causing these poor animals, right? And that is the explanation of what you need to have done by Friday. Hopefully you've had it done before Friday, but if you missed class on Thursday and you're coming to school on Friday to catch up, Hopefully this will explain everything to you. If not, you know where to find me in the Zoom link, all right? Good luck.